Welcome to the Rauta's Underground Trio. Once again, we have three different albums and bands from the underground, and first I'll introduce them in alphabetical order to get a little bit of grip what's going on here, and then I will properly get them a little bit of a review from worst to best order, according to my own opinion as always. So, first we'll head to Australia with the Amniostasis. This is a new duo from Australia. This is a 7 minutes of death metal here with tech death approach. So EP, not full album, but already going to places. Secondly, we have Demonized Priest with Necromantic Rituals, the debut album from Chile. And this style is speed black trash. I would say black trash more than speed, but we'll get into that. And then finally we have Irönwitch with O with Dots, also from Australia with the self-titled debut album. Now can you figure out the order is the question? Probably not. So we'll head to Chile first. Demonized Priest, Necromantic Rituals. This band has already been buried, which is quite ironic because this is a little bit older album. 2021 if I remember correctly, and now in 2024 I was reading the band is no more. So they made one album and that's the story so far it seems, but of course comebacks and all that are always possible. We don't really know where this is gonna end, how it's gonna continue with different bands or this one. Anyway, the style is labeled as Black End Speed Trash or something like that on Metal Archives, and while I'm not totally convinced about the genre definition, I would say there is quite a bit of truth with that, because the style here is overall in fact quite what I just described. First and foremost, it's really blackened. So there's this definitely strong blackened feeling throughout the album, whether we are talking about the vocal parts, raspy, or certain riffs and general atmosphere. Yes, it is very blackened. Now, whether you call this more speed or trashy is, I think it depends from which corner you come to. A lot of people will say speed is just heavy metal played in a faster pace, where trashiness is definitely more heavier and often more technical in nature. Now, I don't give a damn which way you want to put it, because I'm not going to do genre nitpicking. I'm saying, in my opinion, in my ears, this more sounds like black and trash or black trash. Maybe with a little bit speed metal in the mix, because there are parts with kind of a flirt with heavy metal, or as such, speed metal. Now, there's a lot of good energy with this album, but when we go to the actual songwriting, individual riffs and beyond, it's kind of obvious that this is work in progress kind of thing. More than a demo, most definitely, but overall, I wouldn't say this isn't exactly a good album. It's more like a decent one, which you're gonna like if you like black and trash or black trash and all that. But really, there is something essential missing, and something essential here means is ain't no battery, because the riffs and songs are not that good. It's quite potential and all that stuff, but unfortunately, a little bit too easy to just kind of forget. But definitely out there for you people who prefer black trash. Then we have this Irönwitch, which is basically tapping the same way, but this time it's more like blackened death trash. And once again, I'm gonna challenge that genre definition a little bit, because yes, there are death metal parts, but it's definitely more black trash with some death metal flavor in the game. Now, when I was spinning this, I was thinking which band this is reminding me of, and then I figured it out. It's like an Australian Niflheim, but because it's from Australia, not Sweden, there are differences. And then I'm like, yes, it's Bestial Warlust having a baby with Niflheim. So very fast-paced, very chaotic, very aggressive and all that stuff, with strong black metal emphasis here. So when you add all these ingredients into the mix, trashiness, death metallic parts, and of course this blackened overall feeling, that's where you start figuring out all the puzzle pieces and you're able to put it together. So, yeah, if you're a fan of Niflheim or a fan of Bestial Warlust or other Australian band coming from that mixed bag of goodies kind of a thing, then you know what to expect. Surely, not as melodic or catchy or memorable, say, as Destroyer 666, but more into the direction of Bestial Warlust, Gospel of the Horns and all that stuff. But like I said, the first thing that came to my mind when I was listening to this was Niflheim. Now, mind you, though, associations are always very highly subjective and personal. And it's not like I've been listening to Niflheim lately, so maybe my mind is doing tricks because memory is never too much to be trusted. So when I say this reminds me of Niflheim now, if I were to go back to Niflheim right after this review, I might say, it's not that same. But you get the idea roughly, give or take. And this goes to the middle part because, in my opinion, this is more aggressive than Demonized Priest and overall maybe a little bit better, but roughly in the same segment. Not exactly great, but a lot of potential with that. And then we get best of the pile from Australia, Amniostasis. Like I said, this is tech death with 2 guys, 17 minutes, 4 tracks or so. And this is reminding of bands like Origin and Nile. Not as epic as you might consider Nile to be, because this doesn't really have that kind of a big ass Egyptian mythology, lore, what have you. And it's kind of obvious throughout the songwriting as well that this is more on the tech thing. So maybe you might also consider bands like Archspire. Now the big thing here is you don't see drummer here. So comparing this to people like George Collias of Nile or John Longstreth of Origin and what have you, yes, this is gonna pale in comparison. As much as the band guys have been doing good work, trying to stealth mode the drumming into real, it doesn't sound like a poor man's drum machine thing. Obviously, there is a lack of dynamics and just atmosphere, if you will, when there is no real drummer doing the dynamics and all. But when it comes to the songwriting and, production, vocals, everything is right there. So I would say this is a very, very promising band from the world of tech death. Super aggressive, quite technical, very brutal, very heavy, and while not exactly catchy, there is some kind of a undescribed energy which is lying hidden between the individual riffs and song parts and all that stuff. So color me interested for the future recordings by this band. This is already good now. What will happen when they get a real drummer and get to record a full album? Prepare for yourself. So if you're a fan of Archspire, Nile and the like, check this one out. Now all of the links are provided in the description box, so do yourself a favor and give these guys a listen. All of these bands, if you will. Now off you go, and more underground reviews coming your way. Take care.